Coming up on 5-Minute News. Steve Bannon arrested on border wall fraud charges. Ballot's Dropboxes are latest battleground in US election fight. And California firefighters taxed to the limit with wildfires. It's Friday, August 21. I'm Anthony Davis. The architect of Donald Trump's 2016 election victory, who once claimed he wanted to destroy the state and bring everything crashing down, was arrested on a yacht on Thursday and has since pleaded not guilty after being charged with defrauding donors in a scheme to help build the president's signature wall across the US-Mexico border. As a top advisor to Trump's presidential campaign, who later served as White House chief strategist, Bannon helped articulate the America First right-wing populism and fierce opposition to immigration that have been hallmarks of Trump's 3.5 years in office. Bannon was among 4 people arrested and charged by federal prosecutors in Manhattan with conspiracy to commit wire fraud and conspiracy to commit money laundering. Prosecutors accused the defendants of defrauding hundreds of thousands of dollars through a $25 million crowdfunding campaign called We Build the Wall. Bannon used hundreds of thousands of dollars of that money to cover personal expenses, according to the charges. He was freed on a $5 million bond and was barred by a federal magistrate judge from traveling internationally. Bannon was arrested in Connecticut by agents from the prosecutor's office and the U.S. Postal Inspection Service aboard a 150-foot-long yacht, according to a law enforcement source. Trump told reporters at the White House that he feels very badly about the charges, but typically sought to distance himself from Bannon and the alleged scheme. Bannon is the 8th close Trump associate to be arrested or convicted of a crime. Former campaign chairman Paul Manafort, longtime friend and advisor Roger Stone, former national security advisor Michael Flynn, and former personal lawyer Michael Cohen. The indictment comes as the Republican president trails Democratic challenger Joe Biden in opinion polls ahead of the November 3rd presidential election. Biden's campaign said corruption surrounds Trump. As US election officials gird for a dramatic expansion of mail voting in the November 3rd election, Democrats across the country are promoting Dropboxes as a convenient and reliable option for voters who don't want to entrust their ballots to the US Postal Service. Donald Trump's re-election campaign, meanwhile, has sued to prevent their use in Pennsylvania, a key battleground state, alleging that the receptacles could enable voting fraud. Republican officials in other states have prevented their use. Tennessee Secretary of State Trey Hargett told a U.S. Senate committee in July that Dropboxes could enable people to violate a state law against collecting ballots. In Missouri, Republican Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft decided not to distribute 80 Dropboxes he had purchased because state law requires those ballots to be returned by mail. Dropboxes have taken on a new urgency after cost-cutting measures at the U.S. Postal Service slowed mail delivery nationwide, and Trump has repeatedly attacked the legitimacy of mail ballots. Some say the Dropbox battle is a lot of fuss over a piece of civic furniture, typically a heavily constructed metal box placed in a public location, often monitored by video. Republicans in Pennsylvania don't share that sentiment. Trump won that competitive state by less than 1 percentage point in 2016. Winning there again could prove pivotal in his quest to secure a second term in office. Former US President Barack Obama unleashed an extraordinary attack on Trump on Wednesday, warning that his re-election could undermine democracy. During a speech at the virtual convention taped in Philadelphia, Obama said he hoped Trump would take the job of president seriously and discover some reverence for the democracy that had been placed in his care. More than 24 major fires were scorching California yesterday and taxing the state's firefighting capacity, sparked by an unprecedented lightning siege that dropped nearly 11,000 strikes over several days. The fires have destroyed 175 structures, including homes, and are threatening 50,000 more, said Daniel Bertland, an assistant deputy director with the State Department of Forestry and Fire Protection. In all, 33 civilians and firefighters have been injured, and 2 people have died. Most of the activity is in Northern California, where fires have chewed through around 500 square miles of brushland, rural areas, canyon country, and dense forests surrounding San Francisco. More than 10,000 firefighters are on the front line, but fire officials in charge of each of the major fire complexes say they are strapped for resources. Some firefighters were working 72-hour shifts instead of the usual 24 hours. The state has requested 375 engines and crew from other states. In the coastal mountain regions south of San Francisco, where 26,000 people were under orders to evacuate, the CZU complex fire grew overnight to 62 square miles. Officials warned it had the potential to grow significantly the next day. Donald Trump criticized California's leaders and blamed them for not sweeping the floors of the forest and clearing up the leaves, as he previously suggested. You can subscribe to 5-Minute News on YouTube with your preferred podcast app. Ask your smart speaker or enable 5-Minute News as your Amazon Alexa flash briefing skill. Please subscribe, rate and review us at 5minute.news. 5-Minute News is an independent production covering politics, inequality, health and climate, delivering unbiased, verified and truthful world news daily.